You look fine, but nobody around you knows how much that's costing you. Your business is running, you're showing up for your clients, you're hitting enough of your numbers that no one around you is worried. Your team thinks you have it all together, your family thinks you have it all together, and you've gotten really good at making sure it all stays that way. But underneath, you're running on something close to empty, and you don't fully know how you got here because it didn't happen all at once. It felt like it did, but it didn't. So I want to tell you about a client of mine named Mary. Mary's 47. She runs her own multi-six-figure coaching business, and she's a partner in a multi-seven-figure company. She manages a sales team, she coaches elite clients, and she has a toddler at home. And from the outside, she's one of those women who makes everything look manageable. She meditates, she eats well, she takes breaks during the day, and she and her spouse take vacations. And she thought she was doing everything right. But every single time her company runs a sales launch, Mary gets sick. Not a little tired, she gets sick. And it becomes such a reliable pattern that it was a running joke on her team. We're doing a launch, so Mary's going to go down. And every time she got sick, it took her longer to recover. A cough that used to clear in 3 days was hanging on for weeks. And that's not a wellness problem. That's a reserve problem. And it's one of the most common things that I see with women running businesses at this level. So here's what was actually happening with Mary, and what I find underneath the surface with almost every single client that I work with. She wasn't failing to take care of herself. She was running a system that was already at capacity, and any additional demand, like a launch, tipped her past the edge of what her body could defend. Her diet looked healthy, but it wasn't optimized for what her body specifically needed in this phase. Her calendar was blocking time without accounting for how her natural energy actually moved through the day. And her nervous system was in a near constant low-grade stress state that she couldn't feel anymore because she had been doing it for so long. And she had a zero buffer at this point going into high demand events. So when the launches would hit, there was nothing left for her to give. We made specific adjustments, not dramatic ones, targeted ones. Her diet, her scheduling, her recovery protocols before and after high output events. We also changed her relationship to the push-through identity that had served her for 2 decades, but was now working against her. And then she ran a launch. And her toddler got sick and was sick the whole time. But she still pulled everything off. She didn't get sick herself, though. Not even close. And that launch brought in over $600,000 in 3 days. Now, that's what happens when you stop borrowing against your future reserves and start actually resourcing the woman running the business now. My name is Kirsten Carey, and this is the Matriarch Rebuild. I'm a natural health practitioner, and I've spent more than 30 years working with women business owners. I have personally built and rebuilt businesses at the 6 and 7-figure level, and I hit this exact wall. I built a huge portion of my success with that push-through identity, which eventually pushed back hard. And I developed 2 autoimmune conditions. My body had been signaling for a long time that I was at capacity, and I kept overriding those signals because that's what I knew how to do. And I reversed both of them. And what I learned in that process became the foundation of everything that I now do with my clients. Now, reversing all of my autoimmune issues, that was 15 years ago. Now I'm stepping into perimenopause. And because I know what happens when I stop listening to what my body needs, I am paying very close attention. I have zero interest in relearning that lesson in a new phase. This transition does not have to be a hard one, but it requires a different kind of awareness than what got you here. This is not something that I studied from the outside. I am living it in real time, same as you. I work at the intersection of perimenopause, physiology, and business strategy. Not because those 3 things are separate areas of expertise, but because they are all one system. You can't diagnose the revenue problem without understanding the capacity problem. And the body and the business are the same system. And here's what I see over and over in women at this level. The approach that built everything, the push through, the override, the I'll figure it out. It worked because your biology was working with you. a hard week and you bounce back by the following Monday. You could absorb a full client load, a difficult sales conversation, and a brutal month and still come back at full capacity. That wasn't just discipline. That was your hormones doing significant recovery and stress buffering work that you weren't tracking. And what changed is not your work ethic. What changed is that your hormones are no longer stable. Perimenopause isn't just simply a drop in estrogen. It's a period of fluctuation. So you have surging and crashing and spiking and shifting. Sometimes it shows up as estrogen dominant. Sometimes it's low progesterone. Sometimes both at different points in the same month. The imbalance can be subtle or it can be dramatic, and it changes. And here's the part that nobody else talks about. The reason it hits you harder than you expected is not because perimenopause is inherently devastating. It's because you were already at capacity before it started. Decades of pushing through, overriding signals, borrowing against your reserves. Your body had no buffer left when the hormonal shift arrived. So what might have been a manageable transition landed on a system with nothing to absorb it. So your sleep stopped recovering you. Your cortisol curve shifted. The amount your nervous system can process and recover from in a week is not what it was 3 years ago. You are running a 2018 business model through a 2026 nervous system, and the math is not going to add up no matter how hard you push. This is not a mindset problem. It's a structure problem. And the structure can be fixed, but not by doing more of what built it. And this isn't just showing up in your body, it's showing up in how you are structuring your business, your team, and the decisions that you're making every single day. One of the things that I have found working with women at this level for more than 3 decades is that what they actually need is someone in their corner who can hold both things at once, the business and the body, in the same conversation with someone who does not just understand the theory, but has lived it in real time and knows what it actually feels like to have to keep going while also learning to adjust the identity that kept you pushing. Because the shift required in this phase is not what most high-achieving women expect. It asks you to learn to receive, to surrender. And I know what just happened when some of you heard those words, because I felt it too. For a long time, I believed receiving and surrendering were just softer terms for giving up. Many of the successful women that I have worked with felt exactly the same way. The ones who had built everything on the strength of their push-through identity couldn't afford to see those words as anything other than weakness. But that's not what they are. The women who learned to shift their definitions of those words found something that they weren't expecting. Receiving and surrendering are not the absence of strength. They're a different expression of it. The empowered feminine energy that moves you through this phase rather than burns you up in it. And it's not soft. It's the most sophisticated form of strength available to you right now. The identity that got you here was built for a different phase, and it served you. It earned you everything that you have. But it's not the identity that takes you to the next level from here. That transition is not a loss. It's an upgrade. But it requires someone who understands both what you built and what your body is asking for, and can help you make that shift without dismantling everything that you worked for. So if you're still with me, the question is not, do I relate to this? You already know the answer to that. The question is, where is this happening in your business right now? Where are you operating at capacity without recognizing it? Where are you compensating in your offers or your delivery instead of adjusting the actual system? Where are you holding on to team structures that no longer fit because you don't have the bandwidth to make a change? Or where are you delaying decisions because the weight of the impact on everyone else feels like too much for you to carry right now? That's where you start looking, not at your mindset, not at your marketing, at the actual structure underneath. And here's where most women get stuck. You cannot accurately assess from the inside your own patterns. You will either minimize it and keep pushing because that's what you know how to do, or you will overcorrect and start pulling apart things that are actually working. Both of those responses come from the same place, a system that is too depleted to see itself clearly. You need someone outside your patterns who can see the full picture, business and body at the same time. The woman this work is for usually already knows something is off. She just can't fully explain it yet. The business still works. She can still do everything she's always done, but more and more of it feels like something she has to force herself through instead of something she actually enjoys and wants to do. She's starting to question whether the programs and the masterminds she's been in are actually making things worse, whether something needs to change, but the cost of changing it feels enormous. And if that's what you're feeling, stay. I built this channel for you. And if you're watching this and you already know something about the way you're operating is no longer working, the richly resourced audit is your next step. This is what I do inside the audit. We look at your physiology, your business model, your energy, and your actual capacity together. Not in theory, not in generalizations, but specifically for you. So you know what to stop, what to adjust, and what needs to change. But if you can feel that something isn't working, but you cannot see it clearly from the inside, that's exactly what the audit was built for. The link is below, and that's for the woman who's already ready to stop running on borrowed reserves. And if you're not there yet, start with the how to stop being the one who holds everything together in your business video. It's part of the playlist below this video. Each video in the playlist takes on one specific problem that women at this stage are running into and breaks it down. It's not just inspiration, it's a diagnosis. I'll see you there.